again, another Furio Watchers video, this one all about one of my favourite hip hop groups of all time, Gang Starr. Known for being a classic lineup, Guru and Primo, actually started out back in '85 with Guru without Primo, worked with various different people, released a few singles, they then split up and it was Guru and Primo that then continued it from '89 onwards. Primo's original name was actually Waxmaster C, so that was the name he actually originally went by before changing it. Amazing group, Gang Starr. Got to see them live. It's actually nearly 20 years ago. I've actually found the ticket. Yeah, November 2003. In Manchester. It was at a smallish venue, which I think really added to the atmosphere. I remember Big Shug was there as support as well. Really good concert, and one I'll remember for a long time. Reminder as well, 5 years since I dropped my very first album out on Bandcamp, so I'm giving that album away for free at the moment. There's a link in description. There's 5 other albums I've got out on there as well, so feel free to give those other albums a check as well. I've also got channel membership available now, so those that are interested, if you join up as a member, you'll get all 6 of my albums for free, and you can also get access to members exclusive videos, which I will be dropping 5 for those each month on there. So anyway, let's dive in, let's listen to the first sample from Gang Starr. Vic Juris sample there, what a sample that one is. Wasn't discovered for quite a long time after the track came out. So Vic Juris is actually the guitarist, and there was another guy, another musician, Barry Miles, actually playing keyboards on that. So it's actually Barry Miles' part of it that Gang Starr sampled. Produced by Primo and Guru. Absolute genius use of that sample. It's actually very hard to reconstruct that sound. I've loaded that same sample up into my MPC and it just doesn't sound the same. So absolute props to the pair of them for flipping that the way they've done. Absolute classic Gang Starr track. So let's see what the next one is.
Above the clouds where the sounds are original, infinite skills create miracles, warrior spiritual. Above the clouds.
John Dankworth sample, or Johnny Dankworth as he went by as well. British composer, put a huge amount of albums out. He also did lots and lots of music on the Library Music Records for KPM label. They are one of my favourite ones, those Library Records by KPM. Very collectible now. If you look up those second hand, they're going for quite a lot of money. You can check a lot of them on Spotify as well. Just search for KPM. Some great ones on there. This sample's been chopped up really well for that Gang Starr track. So Primo's really gone to work with his chopping skills with that one. Great track that, Above the Clouds. Also features Inspector Deck from Wu-Tang on it.
Who's this suspicious character strapped with the sounds profound, similar to rounds spit by derringers? You're in the terror dome like my man Chuck D said.
Brilliant Joe Simon sample there. He eventually gave up his music career and became a preacher. Passed away in 2021. Another great track off that Moment of Truth album by Gang Starr. The chopping on this is just amazing. Really good. If you've not seen it already, I've done a video about DJ Premier's sample chopping technique, where I've loaded up several of his samples on the MPC and shown exactly what he's done to those tracks. And You Know My Steez is one of the ones that I've shown on there. Such a great track, that one. Let's see what the next one is. Tjader sample there from his album Sounds Out Burt Bacharach. It's a cover version, one of many covers of Walk On By. Another very famous one that's been sampled a lot of times is the Isaac Hayes version of it. Really, really great track, that. Again, the chopping on this is genius. He's taken the parts in between the main bits and actually used that to create a loop. Such a great track, that one. Again, co-produced, Primo and Guru on production there. Ballin Jack there, which were a funk group from Seattle. Primo's obviously listened well to that record because that's about halfway through the song where he's taken that sample from. Pretty insignificant part of it where it's just linking two sections. Taken that, looped it and just used that to create such a great track. The title track off the Step in the Arena album. So let's see what the next one is. Clarence Wheeler and the Enforcers there, with their cover version of the Beatles track Hey Jude, was their very first single, that one. Sampled on the track Dwick by Gang Starr, with Nice and Smooth featuring on it as well. It appeared on the Hard to Earn album in '94, but the single actually dropped 2 years earlier, back in '92. So it was an unusual one to appear on the album, a track that was actually 2 years old. Straight up loop, with some drums laid over the top. Simple, works really well though.
Brothers are amused by other brothers' reps, but the thing you know best is where the gun is kept. Cause in the night you'll feel frightened.
Jean-Jacques Perrey, French musician, was originally studying medicine, dropped out of medical school to become a musician. He met up with Robert Moog, the creator of the Moog synthesizer, and he became one of the very first people to actually tour and play the Moog synth. Did quite a lot of albums, electronic albums, sampled on this classic Gang Starr track as well. Another one that's a straight up loop, so it's not chopped up, but just to get a rep, it's just one of the classic Gang Starr tracks of the 90s. So let's see what the next one is. Larnelle Harris, who's a gospel singer from Kentucky, done over 20 albums. This sample was taken off his third album that he put out, used on Gang Starr's latest and final studio album. Talked about this on my last video, but this is one where Primo was paid quite a lot of money to get the acapellas of Guru to use on these tracks. This one also featured J. Cole on vocals as well. Really nice track, this one.
Actions have reactions, don't be quick to judge. You may not know the hardships people don't speak of. It's best to step back and observe with cool.
Billy Paul, probably best known for his 1972 hit, #1 hit, Me and Mrs. Jones. Another great sample off the Moment of Truth album. Again, this was co-produced between Primo and Guru. Flipped really nicely for this. Great track yet again.
You've got the kind of loving.
The Manhattans did over 20 albums. This is another sample where they've definitely listened well to the record. A lot of producers will only take a sample from the very start, the very end of a track, because they can't be bothered listening all the way through. This one, taken part way through the track, taken one really small segment, used that as a loop, Another great track off the Moment of Truth album.
Sure, you probably heard it before. Step to the metal mic, I prove my word is Lord.
Charles Mingus, absolutely legendary jazz musician, player of the double bass, or upright bass as you call it in the US. Been sampled many times. Primo's definitely a fan of this particular record. He also sampled it for D&D All-Stars track 1 2 Pass It. Great Gang Starr track, that one, featuring Little Dap from Group Home and J. the Damager on it. One of my other videos, I've done a full breakdown constructing all the different samples on this particular track. Real classic Gang Starr track, that one. Let's see what the next one is. Going way back here now, sample used on Gang Starr's very first album, No More Mr. Nice Guy, back in '89. Some things real stand the test of time, but Guru's pants he's wearing, don't think do. Lovely leather pants he's got on there. I just can't imagine anyone these days wearing anything like that. But really great track, that. One of the standouts on that first album. I think that sample is just amazing. Primo's taken that one sound and just used that to create an entire track. I just can't see what other producer would be listening to that original track, pick that out and go, yeah, I'm going to use that, that's going to work well, and managing to flip it so well into such a great beat. Yeah, one of my favourite ones, that one. The Mysterious Flying Orchestra, which were a jazz fusion group that just came together and put this one album out. Lonnie Liston Smith was a member of that group as well, and the interesting thing is it's a cover version. He put that out himself in 1974. This is another one where it's been chopped really well. It just flows and sounds like it's a straight up loop, but when you listen closely, it isn't. It has been chopped up, and it's just the way that it's been put together just works so well on that Skills track. Monk Higgins sample, great saxophone player. Code of the Streets is really great Gang Starr track. The straight up loop, but it works so well. I really love the other part that's not shown here with the scratching, and I've done a video as well on the turntables showing exactly what Primo's done with those scratches. Really great track, that one of my favourites. Let's see what the next one is.
You puny protozoa, you're so minute you didn't know that.
Marlena Shaw, California Soul. Actually a cover version of a group called The Messengers, and it was actually a B-side to one of their singles. They didn't do a lot, they did a few singles and just put one album out in the 60s. Check the Technique, another really great Gang Starr track, one that shows off Primo's scratching as well. And I think as well as his sample chopping, Primo is really known for how much his scratches add to the tracks. Not the most technical scratcher, but his patterns are so great, and the way he just uses those vocals to scratch in just adds so much more.
It's the If Edge only knew how I felt about the rap game.
Robert Cobert Orchestra with the theme music to the TV show Dark Shadows. Pretty simple one this, but I just like the way he's taken one really small part of that and just used that as the track. Another good track there with Big Shug and Freddie Fox featuring on it as well.
You think that I don't know?
Come on.
Chuck Jackson there, brother of Michael Jackson. Not really, nothing at all to do with Michael Jackson. Great sample this one, it's been chopped up again so well, completely changed the rhythm from that original, flipped it into a really great track. Fat Joe and M.O.P. both featuring on this Gang Starr track. Another great one.
Strangely enough, I've been struck, affected by her smile, and her style is worthwhile. And knowing that I'm deep like a river, I feel I should.
Gang Starr with Lovesick got released as a 12-inch the following year in '91, and on that 12, a track called Credit Is Due also appeared. That never appeared on one of the proper albums, it only appeared on the Full Clip compilation album years later in '99. So let's see what the next one is. So good what Primo did with that track on the turntables, flicking it between 33 and 45 on the speed control, cutting it up with a crossfader. I'm going to show you exactly how that was done now. Latimore, Benjamin Latimore's his full name, put out over 20 albums. This is another one where it's been chopped up so well. If you listen back to the original and then listen to what the Gang Starr track is, you can just hear exactly how well that's been chopped up and manipulated to change the flow of it. Really great track, that one. Elmer Bernstein did over 150 movie soundtracks, and this sample is another one taken from a movie soundtrack of his. Gang Starr Battle doesn't appear on any of the Gang Starr albums. This was just made specifically for the 8 Mile soundtrack. So if you want to listen to it, that's the album you need to get. Let's see what the next one is. Bob James, one of the most sampled people ever in hip-hop. So many iconic tracks by him. That Lookalike track was used earlier, used in '89 by Kwame, the rhythm. That was more of just a straight-up loop. What I really like with this one is how well it's been chopped. Chopped up, rearranged, completely changed the sound of that. If you've not already seen it, have a check of Primo's So What's Up series, where he goes into detail about the making of this track. Really interesting story about how he made it with a damaged copy of it, and he had every intention on going out and buying a new copy to actually recreate that track. Anyway, that's the end of the video. This is just a handful of some of the best Gang Starr samples. There's so many more that could have been included, and I'm sure people are gonna go, how have you not included this particular one? There's just too many, and a lot of them I have shown in some of the other videos. So reminder again, If you've not already downloaded it, you can go and grab my very first album for free on Bandcamp for a limited period. Drop a comment, leave a like, let us know what you thought, and thanks for watching.